Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. It's KT, your friendly neighborhood personal trainer, and today we're going to go over the foundation of lower body movements. So, essentially, on leg day, you're going to have one of three motions. So it's either going to be a squat, a hinge, or a lunge, and it's up to you to know how to properly do those movements so you don't injure yourself, and it's up to me to show you how to do it. So, let's get into it. Alright, so first up we got the squat. So let's take my face out of this and let's just move it on down to below the waist, alright? Okay, so now that we've gone below the waist here, we're going to square our shoulders, we're going to square our hips, and we're also going to square our feet, okay? So we want all of these in alignment. So let me come off the wall a little bit so you can see this better. And once you get there, you want this all to be hip width apart, okay? Sometimes your shoulders are the same width as your hips, but sometimes they aren't. So I think it's more important to align it with your hips. Once you get into that, you want to tighten your core. So you're actively going to brace it. You're also going to tighten your glutes. The reason for doing this is once you tighten your glutes and tighten your core, it's almost impossible to get out of form here. After you do that, I like to slightly turn my toes out. This is just to align the kneecap over the toes. So you see here, if you go all the way down, it usually goes between your third and fourth toe. So this is where you want this. Okay, let's do a recap. So our feet are aligned with our hips, our toes are slightly turned out, our core is braced, our glutes are tight, and then from here, we're going to slowly push our hips back and bend the knees right down into the squat. And we'll bring it back up. Your hands can also be at your side. Tighten, straight down, back up. So you actually are leaning a little into this. I know some people say like you want to keep your back as straight as possible, but if you did that, this is what it would look like. And it's very uncomfortable. So you have to lean forward a little bit. Let's try that again, but at a side angle. Okay, actually let's do this side so this camera catches my toes. Okay, so hip width apart, toes turned out, core is braced, glutes are tight, hands wherever you feel comfortable. Push those hips back, bend the knees, boom, squat, up, 2, 3. All right, let's bring it back up to this face. All right, so once you've mastered that, essentially you can do any squat. You can put your hands up here. You can go into a front squat. You can put your hands here. You can go even wider. You can go into a goblet squat. You can put your hands behind your head. You can go down to a prisoner squat. You see what I mean here? Like once you have that foundation, any squat variation you can pretty much do. So let's move on to the next one, which is going to be the hinge. This one's a little tricky. A lot of people in my my experience, I should say, struggle with this one. So I'm going to make sure that you do not. Okay, so let's get into this hinge. So the hinge, if done properly, is a very powerful tool in your lower body workout routine. If done improperly, it's going to cause you problems. It's going to cause you lower back problems, upper back problems. It's just not going to be good. So come here, listen to me carefully when I say, pay attention to how this hinge goes. Listen to the cues, actively do the cues, look in the mirror to make sure that you're following what I'm about to do right now, okay? So let's bring it back. Let's do it. Okay, so let's get this hinge from a side view, shall we? So I'm going to turn it, and we're pretty much going to set up just how we set up with the squat. So we're going to put our feet square with the hips. This time we're going to bring our chest up a little bit, okay? This is going to reduce the rounding of your back, which is crucial in this movement. You do not want a round back. And again, tighten your core, tighten your glutes. By tightening both of these, it makes it nearly impossible to come into a round, because once you round, your core is no longer tight. So, chest up, core tight, glutes tight. And you want to slightly relax your knees, okay? So let me try that from this angle. Knees, slightly relaxed, slightly bent, slightly relaxed. Now, once you got this set up, you're just going to push those hips back. Notice how flat my back is here. And notice the angle in my knee did not move. So we're not doing this for this, just another squat. You want to keep that small angle and you're just pushing your hips back. You're going to feel a pull back here in these hamstring muscles if done properly. Okay, so let's demonstrate that one more time. So let's turn to the side. Boom. This time you can keep your toes forward, up to you. Tighten. Knees relax. Chest up. Core tight. Glutes tight. Send the hips backwards. So you can imagine you're holding some dumbbells here. Bring it back up. Push the hips backwards. What will be incorrect would be this. Okay, I mean, that even looks painful. So we're not rounding our shoulders. We're keeping our back tight and engaging those lats, keeping our chest up. Difference from here to here. Alright, so how are we feeling so far? Think we got both of those movements down? We got the squat, we got the hinge. Now a hinge comes in handy with like Romanian deadlifts or single leg Romanian deadlifts or even the deadlift in general. Good morning. So there's a lot of different movements that we use a hinge for. So keep that in mind. Even a hip thrust, even though you're not bending over, you're more so lying down for that motion, but it's still that same being able to bring your hips forward and back motion. So now we got those two covered, let's get into the lunge. All right, back to half a body. So the lunge, in my opinion, is the easiest of the three motions, but I do still see people struggle with it, so we're going to go over it. I'll do this from a side view. So when you're in a lunge, the first thing you want to do is bring a foot forward. And you want to keep your core tight and straight, okay? You want to give yourself enough room. So if you're too close, you can do this, but it can be uncomfortable. And if you're too far, again, you also can do this, but it can be a little uncomfortable for beginners. So you just want to give yourself a nice space. I usually like to start with 2 feet forward and just take one step forward from that spot and one step backwards. Once you do that, keep your shoulders forward and square. Keep your hips in that same direction. Okay, so that is all for this video. I hope that you feel more confident in your squat, your hinge, and your lunge. In future videos, we'll actually do a leg day workout so we can test how confident you feel in that. In the meantime, stay strong. Let's crush it.